Okay. Okay, guys, let's continue with the session without any further ado. Okay. So before that, a formal introduction on my name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council. EC Council is a very well-known reputed organization for cybersecurity certifications. Okay. And I'm certified with CEH and ECSA, EC Council Security Analyst. I teach courses as certified ethical hacking, ECSA, EC Council Security Analyst, web application pen testing, and also on SIEM tools called security incident and event management tools like Splunk, Alien Vault, and so on. Okay. Now, before I start the session, this is a common question that I ask of the students, guys. So just so that I can understand their perspective or their knowledge on hacking. So again, let's keep this two-sided. I don't want to be the only one speaking. I want you to interact with me as well. And let's keep this two-sided rather than keeping it one-sided itself. So guys, anyone who wants to answer, just to know the perspective, can you let me know what hacking is according to you? Again, you don't need to specifically give me bookish answers or anything. Whatever comes to your mind, okay, whatever thought pops up, just let me know. What do you think hacking is according to you? Anyone, guys? Come on, I guess someone or the other might be knowing the answer.
Okay, getting into the other systems and try to steal the information without their consent.
Wow.
That is what
Great.
hacking is.
Did you attend the session yesterday? Okay, whoever that was a very good answer, an appropriate answer, exactly with the correct keywords as well, depending on basing on that same answer that you've given me. If I had to define out hacking, it is a procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, these information systems could be anything. They can be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server. And this gaining access is done without the permission of the organization. Okay. And this is done by hackers for their own benefit. They can steal the data once they get the access, or destroy the data, or just sell it on the dark web. Okay. And sometimes, as I've told you, they destroy the data just for fun. Okay. There's no profit for the hackers sometimes. They just do it out of their boredom. Okay. If hacking seems such a malicious job or a criminalistic task, why do we have a course called ethical hacking? Is the question. And how is ethical hacking different from hacking? Right. So when we talk about ethical hacking, this is the procedure of trying to find the vulnerabilities. Now, a vulnerability is nothing but a flaw or a loophole, or you could say a weakness or a bug in the source code of the application. So your job would be to find this vulnerability and report it back to the organization so that we can patch it up. Once it has been patched up, that security of the infrastructure increases. That closes the doorway for the hacker to perform hacking or cause any harm. So thereby, with ethical hacking, you're trying to increase the security of the infrastructure rather than causing any harm. Depending on these two definitions, guys, I can categorize the different types of hackers again. There's someone who's a black hat hacker. There's someone known as a gray hat hacker and a white hat hacker. A black hat hacker is someone who performs hacking for his own benefit. On the other hand, the white hat hacker is someone who performs ethical hacking or penetration testing so that he can increase the security of the organization. Similarly, there's a gray hat hacker. He has both the qualities, like black hat as well as white hat. Like a black hat hacker, he doesn't ask for permission, but like a white hat hacker, he gets access to the information device. He reports the vulnerabilities back. He doesn't take advantage of them, or he does not misuse them. Okay. Now, all these hackers are professional hackers who perform hacking in a systematic way, and they follow a set of procedures. Those set of procedures are called hacking cycle or cyber teaching. Again, guys, did someone ask me a question? Does anyone have any doubts or questions? Okay. So let me list out all the steps that are used in the process of hacking. Again, various organizations categorize this into various number of steps. But if I had to sum it up for summarizing this, there's only 5 important steps. First step is known as information gathering. Oh, one moment. First step is known as information gathering. It can also be called as reconnaissance or trending. Second step is scanning. It can also be called as enumeration. Third step is gaining access. And then reporting or clearing traces. Now, all these other steps of procedures that are performed when you want to proceed with hacking or ethical hacking. One second, guys. There's someone is Okay, Anthony or Krishna, do you have any questions? Okay. Anyways, so as I was telling, these are all the steps performed or used when performing hacking or ethical hacking. Where it makes all the difference between a hacker and an ethical hacker is in the last step. If you're an ethical hacker, you try to report the procedure. If you're a black hat hacker or just a hacker, you try to remove all the evidences, which is nothing but clearing traces. Now, let's briefly discuss about each of these steps one by one so that you can have a clear picture of what we're trying to learn in the course. So when we talk about information gathering, we try to, as the name itself suggests, we try to gain as much information as possible about the target passively. What I mean by passively is that this information is gained from third-party sources rather than making any contact with the organization. So the organization won't even know that you're trying to get this information about about that specific office or organization itself. Now, the information that we try to gain is as follows. We try to get the IP address information, the DNS records, their employer records, their contact numbers, their publicly available domain name, email addresses, domain names, subdomains, operating system info, and the usernames and passwords. Again, guys, all this information is available for a hacker or an ethical hacker to be obtained from the internet from special websites. Okay. Once all this is done, you go with the scanning step. The scanning is an advanced step. Oh, sorry. 1 second, guys. Yeah. Now we talk about scanning. Scanning, as I put, is an advanced step where you try to perform information gathering itself, but by making active connections. So you try to send some packets to the organization servers, and to those packets in responses, you get that extra information. There's basically 3 types of scanning. There's network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. Network scanning is nothing but where you try to scan for all the active devices in the network and figure out which device is alive, which device is dead. On those alive devices, you perform port scanning to get the list of all the open ports and the services running. After that, you go to vulnerability scanning, check for the list of vulnerabilities on those specific applications or services. Once all this is done, you go with gaining access. Gaining access is again a vast variety or huge discussion. There's a lot of concepts in this. And here's the list. Firstly, we'll discuss about system hacking, where I'll show you how to crack or bypass any Windows operating system password. Now, whether that be Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10, I'll show you how you can crack that Windows operating system password. If you're unable to crack it, how do you bypass it? After that, there's malware and malware advanced, where I'll practically show you how to create each of these malicious softwares one by one, and also how to write your own keylogger, a spyware in Python 3 program. Again, guys, you don't need to learn Python 3 separately from anywhere else. What is required for that specific concept, I'll teach you myself. Okay. After that is network penetration testing, where we'll see all the common day-to-day network attacks like MITM, man in the middle, denial of service attacks, sniffing attacks, and so on. After that comes hacking Wi-Fi networks or wireless routers, which is nothing but cracking WPA, WPA2, or WEP passwords. After that, we have social engineering, where I'll show you how hackers can create fake websites, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it be. I'll show you how you can create an exact replica or an exact duplicate of the original login page. And once you send that login page to other people, you get their credentials. So after that, after social engineering is done, we'll go with web application pen testing. Now, this is not the whole course for web application pen testing. We're just going to discuss a few of the vulnerabilities. Okay, like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, and so on. Finally comes hacking mobile phones, where I'll show you how you can hack an Android phone, whether that be Android 7, 8, 8.1, or 9 or 10, whatever it be. Okay. After all this is done, after you get access to the target system, either by a network attack or system hacking attack or a malware attack, doesn't matter. Once you get access, you have to maintain that connection. Okay. So that comes under maintaining, maintaining access. Trying to maintain a connection, even if the system restarts or even if the user starts it, stops it after a while. Okay. After that comes reporting or clearing traces, where I'll show you how you can generate a report and also how you can delete all the log files on the target system. Okay. Now, just as a quick example, guys, what I want to show you is a very small practical on information gathering. Okay. So how hackers can get your information from a very basic YouTube link as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up YouTube. Okay, you can use any website for this practical. for my example, I'm just opening YouTube. Okay, and this is the exact YouTube original page. Okay, nothing wrong. I'm going to just select any random video from this. Let's say I select this one. Okay, so I have some random YouTube page over here. I can just copy this whole YouTube link. I'm going to show you how hackers can use these YouTube links or any random link on the internet and get your information. So they'll send you a modified link. Once you click on that link, that again, as I've told you, this is a social engineering attack where I'm trying to send you a link and I'm waiting for user interaction. Again, you don't even need that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a website called Grabify. This is an IP login site. So let me open up Grabify and paste my URL over here. I'll click on create URL. So what this site will do is it will develop or give you a different URL. So this is my original URL, the YouTube URL. And then I have a new URL called Grabify. Now this seems a bit suspicious, so I can just change the domain also. Depending on the target's interest, you can select whatever domain you want of your choice. Let's say my target is interested in gaming. Let's just select a gaming link. Okay. And path, let's say invite a friend to a game or whatever. Okay. Now this is my new link. And if I copy this and if I send it to someone over mail or WhatsApp or in a real-time scenario, hackers can upload this as a status. And whoever clicks on those statuses on WhatsApp or Instagram or whatever, they get the same YouTube page. Nothing malicious, nothing wrong with that. But internally, the hacker can get their information as well. So basic information about their device. So guys, I've sent this link over the chat. If anyone wants me to verify, you can just click on the link and let me know if you're getting the same YouTube page, because that is the main objective of the practical, that you have to get the same YouTube page. So if anyone's clicking, just let me know, guys. In a real-time scenario, hackers just wait for someone to click on that link. They can share it via email or WhatsApp or any social media site, or they can upload it as a status or whatever. And as soon as someone clicks on it, they get the same YouTube page. Nothing wrong with that. But once they click on it, Grabify can also capture their IP addresses and their device information. So if I just click on it myself, let me show you. I'll just click on the link that I've created. I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it over here. And if I hit enter, you will be noticing I'll be getting the same YouTube page. So what I have over here, I should be getting over here also. As you can see, the same YouTube page. Nothing wrong, nothing malicious. But if I go to Grabify and refresh the page, whoever clicks on that link will get their results. Okay. So one of you has clicked it from an Android phone, from a specifically Airtel SIM card phone. Okay. So someone has clicked this. Again, the question might not be accurate, guys, but just to show you, this is your IP address, the public IP, 106.222 something. Okay, and this is your information, like your device is running on Android 11. Okay, this is your processor, this is your screen size, and this is your IP. Airtel is your SIM card. Similarly, I have my IP over here as well from my Windows 10 operating system device using a Firefox browser. This browser is Firefox itself. And this is my IP. If I just start to verify, I can just search for what is my IP. And this shows my original IP. And you can notice this is the same IP that is being shown over here. So I got the target's IP address, I got the target's operating system, I got the target's ISP, whatever. The most crucial part is the operating system, so that I know in the next link that I send, I have to create what kind of a malware. Whether that should be a Windows malware or Linux malware or a Mac OS malware, whatever. Okay, so this shows you basic information on how you can get by using any random. What Grabify does is it just captures these pages. Okay, so whoever is clicking on that link will capture that first victim user's details, and that it will send it to the Grabify login page, and then it will redirect the original user to the website that you select. Okay. So before we continue with all these classes, guys, there's a few introductory sessions that we take first 2-3 days, where I'll show you how you can, this one, sorry, this is the course. Okay, we'll take a few introductory classes first. The first 2-3 classes will be introductory, where I teach you all about networking, basics of Linux and Windows commands and virtualization and whatnot. After that, we dive into the advanced concepts. Again, if you have any technical queries regarding the course, guys, you can ask me directly on my number. This is my number and my email address. If anyone has any questions regarding the batch timings or the batch fees, duration again is 30 days, guys. Okay. There's a new batch starting from this Friday, tomorrow itself, actually. Tomorrow we'll have the first introductory class at 8 p.m. in the evening. Although, just to confirm, you can ask DURGASOFT as well for the fees and the confirmation fee when the batch is started. Okay. So any questions for anyone else?
The duration of the course?
30 days, 1 month.
1 month.
If there's no delay from anyone's end, let's say by sometimes there's some emergency and some students might be absent. So max to max, you can say 30 to 35 days, not more than that.
Yeah.
Every day we'll have a 1 hour class from Monday to Friday. Weekends will be holidays. So only from Monday to Friday, you'll have 5 classes every week. And that will last for 1 month, 30 days to 35 days.
Yeah. Sir, what was the major programming language for ethical hacking?
Again, guys, you don't need to learn any kind of a programming language for ethical hacking. Okay, just I have added a new bonus concept called malware advanced, and where I'll be teaching you Python itself myself. Okay, although Python is very popular right now in today's world, so that because it's a lot easier compared to other programming languages. So if anyone's interested, I would recommend they go learning with Python, if possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions, guys, for anyone else?
I have a question.
Sorry, guys, please come again.
Yeah, in this 30 days itself, we can learn everything required for the examination, right?
Yes, along with these, I'll be sharing a few dumps as well, guys, so that could help you for the examination. So yeah, this would be sufficient for you to go through the exam and give the certification. Again, this pass guarantee for the from DurgaSoft as well. So when you're writing an exam, again, please just let us know so that we can assist you.
Okay, so okay.
Any other questions, guys? Anyone else? Someone asked a question in the chat, I guess. Achilles, the fees for the course is 8,000 rupees, is what I've been informed. Okay, but please contact DurgaSoft as well once and ask them for the confirmed fees for the course. Okay. Any other questions, guys, for anyone else before I end the session? Okay. If no one has any questions, I'll end the session. So again, guys, as I told you, there's a new batch starting from tomorrow. Okay. So if you want to join in that, just contact DurgaSoft and let them know about it. Okay. So yeah, hope I see you in the classes. Hope I see you in the sessions. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. Oh, whoa. Knox. Yeah, Mahesh, Aponics is different. The demo I'm taking right now is for a different institute. Okay. So Aponics and DurgaSoft are 2 different institutes. Any other questions, guys, for anyone else?
Actually, I contacted through Aponics. So
Yeah, sure, Mahesh. I know that. Again, as I've told you, I teach for a lot of different institutes. So one I teach for DurgaSoft and one I teach for Aponics as well. They have their own prices. So the price I mentioned to you right now was the price from DurgaSoft, not from Aponics. For their fees, you'll have to contact them directly. Okay. Although whatever institute it be, the course contents are going to be the same.
okay, thank you.
Sure, Manish. Yeah. Bye-bye. Take care. See you.